Before my father started his electronics business, he ate 3 sandwiches a day while working at the Alcan factory by day and studying goldsmithing at RMIT by night. He would sit outside the lawns of the State Library with his last sandwich, watching the darkness and think of glories to come. On my birthday, my mother brought a cake into the store. She took it up to the front counter, just behind us there, and she lit the candles while all the sales staff sang happy birthday to me. Customers joined in and we served the cake around. I felt a flush of mortification and joy and the strangest ineffable feeling of pride and place, even though the place was just a spot in behind the mobile phone counter. For now I was just a sales girl in a blue sales shirt and red lipstick, but I was special. The cake proved it. It blared out this message, accompanied by the backing vocals of a special durian scent, so that no one within a 15-metre radius could miss it. The way the sense of place came into this was I saw suddenly Footscray through the eyes of someone else, and that influenced me a lot as a writer. So 2 things influenced me: my father's unrelenting optimism about life, coming to Australia having survived the killing fields, and secondly, when I went to university, I met a character in my book, my boyfriend Michael, who, when I took him to Footscray for the first time, his eyes almost popped out of his head because he'd come from Clunes in the countryside, and suddenly seeing this world through the eyes of someone else, someone who was dead bent on seeing your world in the most amazing light possible, it made me realise that this was an extraordinary place. And it made me notice small details, you know, the signs about, you know, bragging about being advertised on a current affair on the chemist, the acupuncturist right next to the halal butchery right next to the Club X. So we're sitting inside a Retrovision store where I worked most of my young adulthood, sometimes as a child as well. On hot summer days in Melbourne, my dad would set us up on a table, me, my cousin, my brother, and because we were small and cute, he had these ice shaving electronic machines that shaved ice. So we were meant to sell them at the front. Now, we didn't know anything about selling. All we're meant to do is make ice cones for people during the heat of summer. So that was my first foray into retail, and then I spent many years working as a sales assistant at Retrovision. Even after my law degree and when I became a lawyer for the first 2 years, I worked here on weekends. So, you know, in the days I'd wear a black suit, and then in the weekends I'd put on my blue Retrovision jumper. If you come from a family of migrants, Australia is the place where you're meant to assimilate, the place where you're meant to build your new life, and the place where you're meant to raise your kids to be Australians. And then on the next level is the country in which your parents come from. And whatever happened in that country is going to shape your sense of identity. I don't believe that you can be truly 100% rooted in one place if you're a migrant, even if you're born, you know, born here without your parents' sense of place affecting you. Writing is about getting to the heart of what it means to live, I think. Then why else would you do it if you didn't? Well, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. And that's all you can do as a writer, is to see the world through your lens and to make sure the lens is as widened as possible. I read somewhere philosophers said that a desktop is a dangerous place from which to view the world. Because if you're writing non-fiction, writing isn't about sitting there. It's not cerebral. It's not to do with the brain and your hand and a pen. It's to do with engaging all 5 of your senses: touch, taste, smell, hearing and sight. And most often we rely on 2 senses: sight for what we see and hearing for dialogue. We forget touch, taste and smell, and that's really important in my writing. When I was 17, I had a nervous breakdown, and when that happens, you lose your senses. Even your sense of vision becomes tunnel vision. Literally, there's blackness and that's all you see. I don't know whether there's a physiological explanation for it. And your sense of touch, I lost my sense of being ticklish, and your sense of smell and taste are completely dead. When they come back to you, it's like being born again. You know, you can never take any of that for granted.